outsourcing. For most CPA films, that word probably makes you think of two things, right? Saving time and maybe cutting costs. But what if the biggest benefit, the most critical advantage, is the one you're not even focused on? Today, we're going to talk about how outsourcing can become a powerful shield for your firm's compliance and risk management. Let's dive in.
So let me just ask you this. How confident are you, really, in your current compliance strategy? I mean, with regulations constantly shifting and everything getting more complex, is your approach actually built to last? It's a huge question because, as you know better than anyone, the stakes have never been higher.
Because just one single misstep, one incorrect payroll calculation, a tiny reporting error, or some oversight in accounts payable, well, that can have absolutely devastating consequences. And we're not talking about minor headaches here. We're talking about crippling financial penalties, total nightmare audit scenarios, and maybe worst of all, the erosion of your firm's hard-earned reputation.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into the high-stakes game of compliance. Then we'll look at how outsourcing is a really strategic solution. After that, we'll dive deep into the top 5 benefits, tackle some of the common concerns you might have, and then we'll wrap it all up with a final takeaway.
Okay, so let's pivot a little. Let's shift from the problem to the solution. It is time to start looking at outsourcing not as just some back office function, but as a frontline defense in your risk management strategy. And yeah, that's going to require a fundamental shift in how we think about it. See, the old way of doing things, keeping everything in-house, it often leads to a much higher risk of human error, not to mention staff burnout from just grinding through all those repetitive tasks. The strategic approach, on the other hand, uses expert outsourcing partners to create standardized, totally auditable processes. And the best part? This frees up your most talented people to focus on what they really do best, high-value client work and strategic oversight. So, how does this strategic approach actually translate into real-world benefits? Let's break down the 5 key ways it can build a stronger, more resilient, and, frankly, a more competitive CPA firm. First up, and this is a big one, payroll compliance. This is easily one of the most regulation-heavy and high-risk areas for any firm. One small mistake, a misclassified employee, an incorrect state tax withholding, that can create a massive ripple effect that hits both your clients and your own firm's stability. So here's how an outsourcing partner just shuts that risk down. They're specialists. Their entire job is to stay on top of that crazy labyrinth of ever-changing federal and state tax laws. They use robust systems that dramatically cut down processing errors. They produce audit-ready reports from day one, and they maintain impeccable, secure documentation. Okay, our second benefit really builds on this foundation of expertise, adhering to accounting standards. Consistency and accuracy are completely non-negotiable in our world, especially when you're dealing with a high volume of client accounts where even the smallest errors can multiply fast. And this is where leveraging global talent, like India-based accounting services, becomes a huge strategic advantage. You suddenly get access to this deep pool of professionals who are intimately familiar with U.S. generally accepted accounting principles, or GAAP. And the result? More accurate financial statements, and a serious reduction in costly reporting errors. It's a game changer. Benefit number 3 takes us back to payroll for a second, but with a really crucial focus on security. Because it's not just about getting the numbers right, is it? It's about protecting the incredibly sensitive data that comes along with the job. So, what does a dedicated outsourcing partner bring to the table? Well, for starters, enterprise-level security protocols. They protect sensitive client and employee data with rock-solid systems. They make sure critical filings are never missed. And they implement standardized processes that create a clear, auditable trail for every single thing they do. All right, number 4. This tackles an often overlooked compliance risk, accounts payable. Let's be honest, inaccurate records, duplicate invoices, or late payments, this stuff can create very real financial and legal exposure for your firm. So outsourcing AP isn't just about efficiency. It's about aggressive risk mitigation. It ensures your records are precise and auditable. It eliminates costly errors like duplicate payments, and it can even automate vendor compliance checks. That adds another critical layer of protection you might not have right now. And that brings us to our 5th and final benefit, the one that really ties it all together. This is all about mitigating those broader operational risks that can quietly weaken a firm from the inside out. Think about it. What happens when a key member of your team leaves unexpectedly? Outsourcing ensures business continuity. It reduces your firm's exposure to the inevitable human errors that pop up in repetitive, high-volume work. And, like we've said, it provides audit-ready documentation, all while letting your best people focus on strategy and taking care of clients.
Okay, now I know this all sounds pretty good in theory, but you probably have some practical concerns. I get it. So let's just tackle the two biggest questions head on. The first question I always hear is about control. Do you just lose control over essential processes when you hand them over to someone else? And the answer is a clear no. It is so crucial to understand this. Strategic outsourcing is not about abdication. It's about delegation. You delegate the routine, repetitive stuff, but your firm absolutely retains final oversight and approval. You are always, always in the driver's seat. And the next big question is, of course, security. In an age of constant cyber threats, is it really safe to send your client's most sensitive data to an outside partner? With the right partner, the answer is a confident yes. Reputable outsourcing firms invest a ton of money in state-of-the-art security. They follow incredibly strict protocols and are often compliant with international standards that might even exceed what a smaller firm can manage on its own. So, as we bring this all together, it's pretty clear that we need to redefine what outsourcing means for your firm. It's time to move past those old definitions and really embrace a new, more strategic vision. So here it is, the key takeaway. By delegating key functions to specialists, you're not just saving a little money or freeing up some time, you are actively investing in a stronger compliance framework and a much more robust risk management strategy for the future of your entire firm. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Take a good look at your operations, your workflows, your team's workload. What is the one compliance risk, that one repetitive task that you could strategically take off their plate today to build a stronger, safer firm for tomorrow? The future of your firm might just depend on it.